They're out in the country, it's a very harmonious
And
situation.
ma'am, we actually have investigated about 6 or 7 other locations that have been brought up and discussed, and we will discuss those at the committee, but we have, yes.
Okay.
And we've gone through the pluses and minuses and the reasons why it wouldn't work and so on and so forth, so.
Okay.
But again.
One more thing I'd like to comment on. It
Yeah.
seems that there's a lot of discrepancy. We're being told that it's still a proposal, but if you look on the internet, it's there as an open park. It's open now. It shows the private residence as the entrance to the park. That's quite disturbing to our neighborhood when we're told that it's not even a done deal yet. So the internet is showing it as a developed park that's open right now
Internet
as we
shows
speak.
my house and driveway.
And to do that, so, and we can check on what it's supposed to be on there. In fact, the other thing on Google, it's already listed as the Durand Dog Park. And one thing about it is we've learned it always has to be called OR Anson FFA Park and so on. So I don't know exactly how Google got that incorrect, but we are aware of that situation.
Okay.
And that's.
Is there a way that they can put a picture of the field instead of our houses and my driveway?
Certain control over social media. We only have so much control over social media, but we can check into it.
Thank you.
But to follow up on that, if the dog park isn't a done deal, it shouldn't be listed as a dog park yet because it's not done yet.
The city didn't do anything.
We didn't do any of that. You understand that all of a sudden it showed up. I was surprised as anybody when I went onto Google and saw what it was named, because we haven't named it anything yet,
Well-
and so on. But somewhere along the way, Google picked up on that, and we don't know how. But again, I was surprised as anybody when I was putting together, looking into a number of things about the land. So,
And I do have copies of my thoughts if anyone is interested.
are they different than the ones you already gave?
Yes, they're different than.
Okay, see, we do have copies, remember so we have copies for everybody on the council about those concerns. And if there's other ones, please give them to the clerk and we make sure that the council gets them.
There's not enough, but you
I'll
can make
make
that.
You want me to read, this is not a done deal?
Yeah, it's not a done deal. I mean, we still, again, what the council approved was the raising of the funds toward a dog park and so on. So it is not a done deal.
Okay.
The final approval has to be given by this group.
If you do an internet search, it appears to be a done deal.
Yeah, and again, we don't control the
It
internet.
goes back to you can't believe everything.
Because as I said, I was surprised as anybody when I read that.
She's concerned with people pulling up in her driveway, knocking on her door, saying, how do I get into the dog park?
But again, we had discussed it when we got together with me and staff and the council president, and we had said that obviously we were surprised too when that came up. What I'd like to do though, as long as we have you all here, is talk about when, I'd like to conduct that meeting before the second council meeting in June, which is the 22nd. And that'll be in front of the Public Welfare Committee that are members of Weisenbeck, Hooker, and Raisler.
I do any Monday, Tuesday, 5 o'clock, Wednesday. It doesn't matter to me, what works best for you.
I prefer a Monday or Wednesday.
Okay, well, why don't we just, because we have a couple of the committees that need to meet, probably going to meet before the next meeting. So why don't we just plan for, should we go 5 or 5:30 on the 22nd?
The later the better, because I work in Eau Claire, so
5:30.
5:30? Should that be okay?
I can get off.
Yeah, so let's plan on that. 5:30 Public Welfare Committee.
Is that enough time?
To what?
If you're having a council meeting at 6:30, you're gonna have enough time to debate all that in an hour?
We will figure it out. Okay.
So June what?
It's the only, June 22nd. It's prior to our council meeting on the, and the one thing about it is being it's the only subject on the agenda, so hopefully that'll work out time-wise. Okay. Okay, so again, Public Welfare Committee meeting, 5:30, Wednesday the 22nd, here in council chambers. Any other questions? Sue?
Yeah, Sue Biesterveld, the first thing was I wanted to know when it was going to be on the agenda, so we just got that taken care of. And then you made a comment before about not being able to be at Tarrant Park. Was it going to be shot down, so we're going to discuss that?
Well, no, what I'm saying, we have a list of, that's one of them included, of the 6 or 7 locations that we looked into that have been brought up either by citizens or, including one that is not located in the city, but the other one, there's a number of other ones that were brought up for possible discussion, either some on presently on city land or not, so, but...
Are these the ones listed if you go onto the, where's it? The Pepin County Land Information web portal, if you put in City of Durand, are those the ones that come up for properties? Obviously not the ones that say cemetery, but,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
are those like 4 properties listed there? Are those part of your 7?
I think anything that's possible that's owned by the city of Durand that would, including a couple that we had to eliminate right away for a couple of different reasons. I mean, and again, because I was quite open in saying, what about this location, what about this location? Anything, and even looked at some places that we don't own as possibilities. And to see if they would be suitable. Generally, most of those were not suitable for the space that we need. So again, there are, I'm using the number 6 or 7 as I think what we looked at total, and a couple of them were ones that we do own, some we don't, but again, every possibility within the city limits, plus one outside the city limits.
Okay, thank you.
And maybe if I could add that,
Yeah.
and for the group, Leanna, you can speak to this. I mean, we were asked for a 2-acre parcel, which limits an awful lot. Now, it's not to say that we couldn't talk about it being scaled back, but again, preliminarily, it was 2 acres or more, so there's just not many of those in the city.
Yeah, most of them are like 1 acre.
Right, yeah.
Has the proponents of the dog park asked for outside donations? Like, do we have adjoining farmers that might want to give a chunk of not productive
Well-
farm field that would...
Well, let's get into that discussion at that time. Let's get into that discussion. Since this is just public comments tonight, at that meeting, because it'll be a specific meeting to discuss that.
Okay.
And again, the meeting will be broke down into each one of those, location, everything, use of or Hanson Park and so on and so forth. So we'll go and hit each one of those in that meeting. But obviously the biggest concern is location, but, and that's how we'll put that together. Okay?
One more question, if I can.
Sure.
Since is it Leanna? Since you're here, is there a way that you can bring like your plan to the next meeting?
Yeah.
So we can see exactly where you plan on putting it, that in the parking lot, and what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. I mean,
Any
yeah, any information that you'd like to bring, that's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll bring everything that I have.
That'd be good, thanks.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Any other public items? If not, again, coming up on June 22nd, we'll have that discussion. Okay? And again, no other public comments. We didn't have any scheduled appearance for tonight. Move on to the consent agenda. The following matters may be acted upon by the City Council utilizing a single vote. Individual items, which any member wishes to address in greater detail. There's a separate item on the regular agenda, may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any council member. We have the minutes from the regular City Council meeting from April 22nd, 2022, and May 11th, 2022. Bartender's license for Trevor Radel for the Durand Hotel Group. Temporary bartender's license for Leanne M. Bender, Mark R. Chilson, Michael K. Norby Jr., and Amanda S. Smith for the Fun Fest from June 10th to the 12th, 2022. Any issues with that?
No, Stan indicated no issues.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion concerning the consent agenda?
There's one mistake on the minutes from the 11th.
Okay.
You got Schofield present and absent at the same meeting.
Yeah, I did go fix that. I
Okay,
just reprinted again. Thank you for catching
See, I
that.
can't get it 2 places.
Thank you, Councilmember Hayden, for checking that. So with that correction, would somebody like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is approved. Next, we'll move on to the mayor's report. A number of things to talk about, all pretty quick though. First thing is, of course, Memorial Day is coming up on Monday. The fine folks with the Veterans Group, especially Post 181 is going to have their activities. 10:30 here in Memorial Park. And then they will also do the event at 9:45 down here at the memorial on the river. So again, any of the council members who can attend. Of course, I think there's also going to be a list of also other cemeteries that they'll be going to for that. But again, the main one, 10:30 here at Memorial Park. I was going to talk about the dog park, but obviously we already have that, and we already have the meeting scheduled. I'd like to congratulate the Durand Fire Department for putting on an excellent event. I'm sure we'll hear a little bit about it coming up. That it was a very good event, very well attended. I think the community really enjoyed it, and obviously raised some important funds for our fire department. The Civil War event seemed to go really well. Talked to the organizers. I was there for the last shooting of the cannon. It was sort of neat to learn a little bit about how they did some things and so on, but obviously the students that had the opportunity to participate, and then and the citizens that did show up. So again, I think it was a really nice event for the community. We have, and this is just to think about, league conference. And of course, the reason for league conference, to sort of think about it, is to get rooms. The league conference is going back to lacrosse this year. It was supposed to be there a couple years ago, and COVID put the kibosh on that, so they've decided to return to lacrosse. The dates are October 9th to the 21st at the Lacrosse Center. The one thing about it is we usually like to make sure we get our reservation in for people that are going to get a block of rooms, and that opens on July 1. So if anybody is thinking about going for all or part of the convention, the league conference, it comes up and it's going to be in lacrosse this year. But just sort of put that on your calendar if you are interested in going, and so we can get that block of rooms right after the 1st of July. Because again, if somebody at the end decides not to, it's better to have the block, because we can always cancel a room if necessary. And so,
Clarify, Mayor, 19th to the 21st?
what did I say?
I think 9th.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
19th to the 21st.
Yeah, Wednesday through Friday.
Thank you for catching that. So, but anyway, anybody who's interested in going. One other thing that we have talked about in the past is hosting a joint cities event to sort of get those events going. We were talking possibly the end of June, and the reason why the end of June was what we were looking at, because there was a 5th Tuesday and a 5th Wednesday, and it's usually best to do it because most municipalities have meetings the first 4 weeks of the month, and it always opens it up. So we were talking about that. So if you're looking at actually like the 5th Wednesday in June, it's the 29th. There's a few places in town that would be able to host us. We were looking at, I brought up in the past about maybe subjects that would be good, because what it is, of course, it's a meet and greet to start out, and then dinner, and then of course the presentation. We've heard everything over the years from legal people from the league to economic development to the Elmo Ash Borer one that was off, I believe, in Augusta that year, and so on and so forth. We were thinking that if there was something else that of course, about asking somebody in the league to come in and talk about ARPA and those types of things. Those are that would be a subject right now that's pretty big, because everybody's talking about what they're doing, and it might be the possibility. So again, it's sort of up to us, and again, this is an informal event. We invite all the area municipalities. How many people are you going to bring? We get the number to the restaurant that we're having it at. We go ahead and, of course, they have the social hour, the meet and greet, and then the meal, and then, of course, the thing. But again, it's sort of our turn, and we haven't done it. Obviously, COVID hit. We stopped having these events, but I thought they were useful. I thought that I learned some good stuff about different things. In fact, after we came back from the Emerald Ash Borer one, I know we counted the ash trees that we had on city property, made an accounting of how many are left, Matt? A few?
Couple, yeah.
Couple, okay. But again, it was useful. So again, sort of a consensus here about hosting. And again, we set out, see who can come, and then but the other thing about it is finding a spot. We know the Orton room would probably be available on Wednesday night. We'd be able to, but again, enough room to host, about 40 or 50 people?
I think the ARPA thing would be
Seems to be a pretty popular.
What
yeah,
other
they're
communities
doing,
are looking at.
Yeah, and that may just be like an open round table type
Right.
thing where you really don't need a presenter.
Well, we can get somebody from the league that might want to come up
Yeah, true,
and
yeah.
help facilitate, and so on and so forth. Should we go ahead and plan? The one thing about it is if we're going to host it, we want to make sure pretty much all of our people show up, or at least a majority. We know everybody can't make it on every, but it'd be like at Wednesday, starting at 5, dinner at 6, presentation at around 7, and done by 8 is pretty much it is. So should we go ahead? And again, I'm shooting for that, the 5th Wednesday, which would be the 29th. So again, it won't hopefully conflict with people's meetings. Okay, should we go ahead and get something together?
Get some feelers out and go from there.
And to do there, and maybe, I don't know, do we have the list of people that usually get invited? Who's got that?
I will have to do some digging.
Because we've done this before,
Yeah.
but maybe get word out to, in the next few days, to the cities that usually come, cities and villages that usually come, and then we can see about putting that together. So, okay? So, that's all I have. Any questions? The one thing with the joint cities thing is if we get it rolling again, and then maybe 3-4 months down the line, another city will host, and then we can and get these events going. So, and each city pays for their own people to eat, so we don't. There's no cost to us. There's no cost to us. Okay, we didn't have anything come off the consent agenda. Administrator Rasmussen.
Yeah, what a good segue with that Emerald Ash Borer piece. I was asked, a few citizens contacted us this week regarding basic questions regarding their dead and dying emerald or ash trees in the boulevard. Those citizens were planning on being here tonight. They could not make it ultimately, so basically I said that I would bring it to the council's attention, and basically what Matt and I have discussed to this point, and what we plan to potentially do in the future. So clearly we've got some ash trees, and we're talking primarily the ones that whether either on city property or in the boulevards, which is city property but maintained by citizens. So at this point, we've got some concerned citizens that they would like to see those ash trees basically removed at some point. And I guess I'll segue a little bit into Matt is meeting with local forester tomorrow morning, right?
Correct.
To go over and talk about some, again, where some of our trees are and things of that nature. I will say at this point though, and one of the citizens that talked to me said, and to her credit, she had done a lot of homework, had called around various places, and the comment was, well, and all these other cities take care of this stuff. Well, just as a reminder, our ordinances are very clear that trees in the boulevards are the responsibility of the homeowner. That's what it reads at this point. Now, again, there's nothing in the ordinance that says, well, except in the case of, diseases like ash or what we saw beforehand of the reason all these ash trees were planted was because we lost all the Dutch elm trees in cities, and so they went with the ash trees, and unfortunately now they're problematic as well. So at this point, we don't have any provisions for taking care of these trees, but it's probably something we might want to talk about in the future once we get the report back from Matt. And again, so that's my bringing that up to your attention. It's
one more thing on that. I was told there may be some state grants.
Well, that was brought up as well, and we, again, part of Matt's preliminary discussions with the gentleman from the DNR. Those are, well, at this point, there are none that he was aware of. But I know there clearly have been urban forestry grants in the past that we can look at. And again, at this point, I don't know if there's anything urgent, so we'll see where that goes. The only other thing I was going to bring up, and I'll have a few more things when probably in Matt's report, but another complaint cycle that we've been getting a lot of the last couple weeks, not so much recently, surprise, is the mosquito issue. So basically, say about a week plus ago, we had the warm weather and mosquitoes were bad, obviously. A lot of questions of when's the city spraying? City's got to get out there and spray. Well, clearly, Matt and I talked about it. I'll let Matt talk more in his report, but clearly we're still looking around Fun Fest and the music festivals like we have, and that's what we budgeted for, and that's what Matt has available at this point. I guess I would just say that, again, for you folks out there that have those issues, there's still a fair amount of personal responsibility here. I mean, frankly, we talked about this, it would have made absolutely no sense for us to spray last week with what we knew we were going to get this week. And so, there hasn't been a mosquito problem for the last couple of days. When it's into the 90s again next week, we'll see. But please, if you're at the ball fields, which I'm not going to pass the buck too much here, but aren't under our control anymore, please bring your own mosquito go. If your children are being affected, you can't go in your own yard. We'll talk some more about the effectiveness of this and how often we do it, the spraying for mosquitoes, but please, we can't take care of, the city of Durand can't take care of all of your mosquito problems. Hate to end on that, don't.
Any questions for the city administrator? None, so we'll move on to public safety, police department. Monthly update, the chief is not.
Yeah, there's, chief couldn't make it here tonight, he had no updates. Like I said, we talked about the bartender licenses were all good.
And everything, and I think he handed out the report last
The
week.
report was, yeah.
Yeah, that was his
yeah,
monthly
the standard
one, so
monthly report was last
this was
time.
last
Obviously
month.
Jamie wasn't here, so that's why he's here tonight.
And doing that, so, okay. Next we have discussion, possible action regarding a special event open container application for Fun Fest, June 10th through the 12th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 2:30 a.m. That was included in your packet, and just we've gone through the whole process with this application.
Yeah, we've been through
The meeting and everything?
Yeah, we have not been through the meeting. The meeting is planned for, typically it's the Wednesday or Thursday beforehand. Stan was going to set that up. And, I just publicly state that I don't anticipate we're going to have any problems. We haven't had any problems in the past. And thank you to all the bar owners that keep those things from getting out of hand. And again, we just haven't had any issues. So both on city staff's behalf, thank you for all the hard work that goes on out there to make sure that Stan and his gang don't have to deal with any of that for as little as possible.
And basically with this one here, the same area as last year, nothing else changed off of that.
Right. So with this, we should have everything in line for Fun Fest. Everything should be approved. There shouldn't be anything last minute.
Maybe one more temporary bartender
Maybe,
license,
yeah,
but that's minor,
maybe that,
minor,
yeah. But everything else, there's nothing else that'll be last minute for the meeting.
Okay.
On the application, do you want the west after 4th Avenue, or is it necessary? I mean, just so no direction. They put first to 4th.
Oh, I see. But yeah, and just, we'll follow that.
Fourth Avenue West.
The map was attached.
Yeah, gotcha.
As far
Yeah,
as specifics.
Any discussion? If not, would somebody like to make a motion concerning this application?
I'll make a motion to approve special event open container application, Fun Fest.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the application for the open container for Fun Fest. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It is approved. Next, we'll move on to the fire department, monthly report. Chief King.
This is actually the April meeting. As Scott said, I was on vacation for the last meeting. So April, we only had 5 calls, so we were down quite a bit. This month, we're already way high, so it's always slow, ups and downs. The monthly meetings, we held all down. The fundraiser, as the mayor talked, I was also on vacation. Didn't get home till late that night, but as what I was told, it was humongous. Probably the largest event we've ever held. The weather was nice. We had the bands outside this year. Everything was good. I don't know if anybody heard anything bad, I guess.
No.
Come out of it, but it was all good.
Ran out of chicken.
Yeah.
Sold all the chicken.
That'll change for next year.
That's a good thing, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we're looking at redoing the trip, get a little more food and a few other things, so. Our fundraiser this year was for Jaws of Life and a thermal imaging camera. The Jaws did show up today already. So we took delivery of that today. We'll get them in service here shortly.
Hey, what that box out there you're opening?
No, he showed up today about 1 o'clock in the station. We are going to lose one member, Trevor Halverson. We hired him a couple years ago. He used to work at Tractor Central. He was also on Elmwood Fire, but he was a daytime guy for us. He was the trial run guy that I first hired. He took a different job, so he will be resigning next month at our monthly meeting. Other than that, we're going to be hiring 2 to 3 people. I got a couple prospects out there right now, and then we'll also be posting for it. But if anybody knows of anybody, have them reach out to any fire department member, and I'd like to get 2 to 3 more back on and get filled back up. So, other than that, upcoming events, we're going to be out at the Putnam County Dairy Breakfast on June 11th, and then the kids' water fight will be immediately after the parade. down here in the park for the kids' water fight. And I have had a few questions. If you see people and they ask how to sign up, just show up the day of the event when the water fight starts and we'll get all the kids ran through. So we do have free dilly bars, is it? From Dairy Queen donated, so any participant will get a free dilly bar. That's about all I got for fire department stuff.
Any question for the fire department? Thank you. Any other update from the ambulance? Mike was at the last meeting, he was able to give us, I don't think there's anything else at this point, or is there anything you have?
The only update I would add is every time I see someone from there, they thank the council again for the in-town pay raise.
Okay.
So I think that will continue for a while.
Okay. Any questions on ambulance? Hearing none, we'll move on to Public Works Utilities. Engineers report, Russ?
Yes, good evening. Main Street, Wisconsin DOT bipartisan infrastructure law grant. Real close to completing that. Hope to submit it electronically per their email, probably on Friday this week or definitely by Tuesday next week. So we'll share a copy with Matt and staff. We submit that on behalf of the city. Third Avenue East project update. We continue to make contact with A1 Excavating on when they're going to be back on site taking care of their punch list items. Haven't heard from them yet, but assume they'd want to do it soon. We're hoping a little over 50,000 and some change on their retainer. So Dryer Laneville with SSG skid steer guy. He's been out on site the last couple weeks. I think we're down to some two minor punch list items. I think tree trimming, removal of silt fence, and then some private sprinkler lines. So he's getting real close to completing his work. Did some restoration touch-up areas. So I don't know if you've been by both sites, both 3rd Ave and Laneville, with the rain, and when we did have the warm weather stretch, the grass is coming in very nice. So now with warmer weather predicted next week, we should see some more grass growth. So things are looking good. So hopefully A1 gets in, and we'll keep calling them because we'd like to close that project out, obviously, with the CDBG grant, with the state and so forth. So with that, that's all I have. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions for the city engineer? Hearing none, we'll move on to monthly update. Superintendent Gillis?
Yes, I'm gonna end with mosquitoes instead of start with them. Just a couple updates. Good to know the LED lights are installed. They were installed this week. They're down from here down to Main Street and then down along the Riverwalk. If you want to check them out, they're all up and working. The rest of the high pressure sodiums have been fixed. Up 2nd Avenue and down the few that we didn't get LED down below. We do have about 3 or 4 poles on Main Street that'll probably get fixed tomorrow. There was some parking conflicts Tuesday afternoon. They couldn't get at them down on the southern end of Main Street. So he's planning on being back tomorrow, obviously with the rain today. So those are in. We're looking at possibly see if we can get a couple more. I think we're about 10 shy of everything being done between 2nd Avenue and down below here, so we'll look into that. Water tower and reservoir inspections were last week. I'll know more in a couple weeks when I get the full reports back with pictures and full documents. The inspector came out and said it was pretty good, so until I actually get the pictures with the actual inspection back. I ain't holding my breath on that. But everything went well. The water tower was out of commission for probably 3 days. It was down Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We were actually back up Thursday night, so time we got some safe samples and stuff. So otherwise that stuff went well. Flags are up on all the poles for an observation of Memorial Day, as well as I'll report they did hang the flowers up today too. So The flags, just so everybody knows, on the main street and our light poles will stay up through the 4th of July. Then after the 4th of July, they come down. And then they don't go back up until Veterans Day. My memory serves me correct on that one. So that's our flag schedule. The pool, we filled the pool on Monday. The pool is full of water. We fired up our pump. Good news, I don't have any rock blowing into the pool at this moment. I had to call Hurlbirds to get them to get the furnace up and running. It's a 4-stage furnace. We're currently operating on 1 stage. None of the other stages will work, and I'm not going to stick a pile of money into a furnace. So he was able to get stage 1 up and running, so it's probably going to take us the rest of this week into next week to get the pool up to temperature. But it's on its last leg. It's pretty much done. The plumbing for that furnace too is galvanized pipe. We do have a few minor drips on some of the elbows and fittings. We're not touching any of that stuff. We try to tighten one fitting. We're going to end up replacing everything with as old and rusted out as that stuff is.
Just gotta hold on for 2 minutes here.
Well, I'm just telling you too, though, that the pool walls, we got a lot of pitting. Got about 4 spots where the concrete's falling off the wall. Not a safety issue or anything for this season, but unfortunately, this is probably going to be the last year I keep this thing going. Hopefully. So, with that. Touching on the mosquitoes, like Scott said, the last couple of days they've kind of been non-existent. You start getting down below 60 degrees, 63 to 90 is kind of their temperature range, and then they're most active in the 70s. So you get down in this colder weather, no activity from them. Budget-wise, we budget 4 sprays a year. That's it. So that's why we concentrate.
And for the new member, how much is this? I mean,
it's about $1,000 per spray. By the time you factor in the chemical and the time and everything to do it, so it's $1,000 a throw. It is only good for 24 hours. It's a contact spray. It sits on the broad leaves of the trees, on the grass, settles down. After 24 hours, it's dissipated and gone. So you're essentially useless after 24 hours. So in order to get a good quality treatment plan, you're spraying like every other day. They say 4 times a week if you want to actually be effective. So again, we just go out there 24 hours before a major event and do some spraying. Sometimes again before those major events we put granulars out in the park. We've done some other things too, but I have to stay within our budget when it comes to spraying mosquitoes. So again, as Scott said, there's personal responsibility on the homeowners and the property owners and yourself to combat mosquitoes too. A lot of your companies, pest companies will come spray your yards. You got to take some personal responsibility in this as well. The city can't control the entire mosquito population. So with that being said, that's all I have under my monthly report, except for the next topic.
any questions for Public Works?
Do you have those 4 events are scheduled of when you're gonna do it?
So it's weather permitting. So like we always spray before Fun Fest, and then we'll spray before one of the 2 middle music in the parks, and then we spray before the Blues Fest. It'll be some time that week before. So what I gotta do is I gotta look at, there's wind speed that I gotta take into, there's rain, all that we take into. So usually the week before those events, we'll start looking at the calendar and we'll start looking at a time, and then we'll pick a day that week that we feel is gonna give us our best bang for our buck, and we'll go out there and try to spray that week.
Were we on 1 boiler last year too, or were we on 2?
We were on 2 stages last year. The second stage, the burners just burned right out, so they're pretty much non-existent. So we shut that stage off this year.
Can't say we don't get the most use out of our stuff. We gotta take her right to the events. Okay, any other questions for Public Works Utilities? Okay, move on. Discussion possible action regarding approval of the final Tarrant Park pool design. As you know, we are getting into the final stages of the design. We believe we have. It was discussed earlier at the committee meeting for Public Works. I'm going to have the opportunity for, as you know, Matt is not only Public Works Utilities, he's also our certified pool operator and heading up the effort of putting this together. Talk a little bit about the plan that we have and everything, and then the schedule moving forward if this group approves it tonight. So Matt, it's all yours.
Okay, just gonna start with kind of the basic look of the pool. This is basically the bathhouse. It's gonna have this brown brick look. You'll have a little darker brick on the bottom, then a light brick for 2 rows, and then we'll alternate. We'll have that same pattern going up. Color scheme matches our other roofs in town. We have that brown steel colored scheme. Just trying to kind of keep all of our properties same for maintenance. That brown brick look, that's what we've had for a spec on like retaining walls in some of our other buildings. Again, if you so choose, that can be changed, but maintenance wise it's easier for us to kind of have kind of the same color scheme throughout the city. So this is essentially what the front of the pool will look like right here. Scrolling, give me a second here, up or down, down it is. Here's the look from pool deck. As you can see over here where my cursor is a concession stand window. Here's your lifeguard window. Here's the access to the lobby, which I'll show on the floor plan here later. Here's our showers, our three stainless steel outdoor showers. This is a locker set up right here, storage room, 2 drinking fountains, and then access to the maintenance room. Essentially our floor plan. Floor plan looks like this. Starting from over here, again where my cursor is there, you have your pH tank. These are our 2 chemical rooms. Every chemical has to be in its own room and its own containment vessel. Underneath that, in this light gray box here, is a surge tank, 8 feet in the ground. We have to have a surge tank to control the level of the water in the pool. This is our pump pit. Right here, you'll have, I can show you some 3D images here later of exactly how that's configured, but all our pumps will go right here. This is the rest of our mechanical room. You'll see in those 3D images, there will be the pool pressure filter will be right here, the hot water heater will be right here, and the pool furnace and stuff will be over here. This is our storage room. Again, storing, the new pool comes with a vacuum cleaner. And then we'll have our ADA compliance chairs and stuff that we have to store along with our pool noodles and ropes and ladders and things like that. Again, this other gray area, this is a mechanical chase. This is again for us for maintenance on toilets and urinals. All of our plumbing and stuff will be in this mechanical chase. Up top here, this is the men's bathroom, 2 toilets, 2 urinals, 2 showers, 2 sinks. Coming down the hall right here, this is just a janitor's closet with a mop sink. This is a family change room here you see in the blue with a toilet, a sink, and a shower. Coming around the corner here, this is your women's restroom, change room, 4 toilets, 2 showers, 2 sinks. All of this fixture count is dictated to us by the state of Wisconsin in code. So I can't go any less than what we have on here as far as showers needed and toilets and urinals and everything. So nothing in here is really over and above code compliant. This is our entrance / lobby area. What you see here, right here, these kind of this S line here, these are double swinging automatic latching doors. Per code you have to have automatic closing latching doors. Those are right there. As far as the entrance, these doors are going to be roll-up style. If you're familiar with like the concession stands or some storage buildings have those big roll-up doors. That's what you'll see here and what you'll see here. This is essentially what we call our lobby. come in, you can pay in your admin windows here, you go in, access whatever bathroom you want, and then you come out and you access the pool in one central location. We have our admin area. This is where you'll be paying for entrance of the pool and doing your daily check-ins and ticketing. You can either do that outside or inside. You can have 2 different people running for busy times like lessons and things like that. Kind of our lifeguard staging area, desks and where they'll be doing all their paperwork. Our concession stand area, you can see a window going out. This would be out to the park side over here. This would be the pool deck down here. You have your 3-bay stainless steel sink, and we have our little hand washing station, and then you can see that there's room for like a pop cooler and a little chest freezer, and then you have your serving counter right there with a restroom off the outside with a toilet and a sink in, and that's only accessible from the outside. That's essentially our floor plan. Here's our site plan. Let's see if I can go to the first one. So here's the original site plan. This is what's currently sitting up there right now, with this being our building, and then the square being the current pool deck, fencing around the outside. The new site plan, you can see in this site plan, the pool is getting shifted. The entire complex, the pool and the bathhouse, has to get shifted 16 feet. I'm gonna call it to the south towards the water treatment facility. The reason for that is the elevation difference between the parking lot and the pool. In order to get ADA compliant sidewalk from the parking lot to the pool, we had to shift the pool back 16 feet to be compliant, to get the proper slope ADA sidewalk. If we didn't do that, we'd put what we call a switchback in, where you'd have to come off the parking lot, go this way so many feet, come back this way so many feet, and then come back this way to enter the pool. So since we have the room, it doesn't affect anything. We're proposing to shift the pool 16 feet, I'll call it to the south towards the water treatment plant. Again, this is the general layout of the pool. We went through the bathhouse and the bathhouse floor plan. This is essentially what the outside of the pool is going to look like. You have your 0 grade entry starting right here, 0 depth. There'll be 3'6" all the way to the black scupper marks right here. That's handicap accessible and everything. A little bit wider feature area with this fan out here compared to just the standard U shape that we've had for years. Have to have stairs, code for stairs going down. You'll transition from 3'6" to 4 foot to 5 foot right about in this blue line right here will be 5 feet, and then the deep end will be 11 feet. You have your play features. Here's your tot slide, here's your bubble jets, here's some of your other play features. Those are all in code compliant in the 0 to 2 foot range. Right here's our climbing wall, that's in the spec, and our diving board. As you see right here, it's hard to see it. It is the picture of a slide where our slide currently is. We are planning to structurally support a slide, like we're putting in the spot where we put all the plumbing in the ground, make sure the concrete's in the ground and all of the in-ground plumbing and reinforcements are there. The slide itself is not in our plan. Cost-wise, it's not in our plan, and also there's some code for slides. Like you can see this kind of this dotted area right here. I would have to rope that off. Nobody would be allowed to swim in that area while the slide's in use. It's called a landing pad that the state code requires. Plus there's some upgrade to lifeguarding and stuff that we will have to do. So we're looking in that in the future. Our engineers tell us that they're seeing more people gravitate to that climbing wall than the slide anyway. So, but we are engineering for that in the future. Shade structures, there's 4 of these circular shade structures that are also in the alternate bid, and these will be are in with the building. As far as our budget, here's our budget, 2022 updates. You can see here's our projection from October 21. Here's where we feel we're at today with contacting some of our entities. This side right here is the actual budget, and here's what we're bidding out as alternates. On the right side here, you can see all of the play features are going to be bid as alternates. If we come in over budget, they're one of the first things that get cut. PA system, AC for the admin / concessions area, and then the four shade structures. So those will be bid as alternates and potentially cut if we're over budget. But otherwise, we're looking right at our $3 million. Look at this, not the highlighted one. You gotta look at the 2.9 underneath it with the alternates. So we're right at still under our $3 million budget for the pool. With any questions, I have some stuff we need to talk about lighting, but I guess before we get into lighting, does anybody have any questions on the floor plan for the pool, the actual and the actual pool look? Is there any questions on that? I can scroll down to some of these 3D images of the plumbing.
I do have a quick question.
Shoot.
I guess I didn't think of it at the committee meeting, but generally the lifeguards have chairs to sit in out there. What's
Yep, in the budget, we have portable chairs. So code just said they have to be elevated off the ground. So we don't need those big stationary 4 foot, 5 foot tall stands that we have now. So essentially they'll just have like big captain's chairs that will be portable that we can move around the pool deck. So those are in the general construction budget.
The slide, potentially, if it's done in the future, 5 foot is ample depth for what, a 6 foot high slide?
Yes, that 5 foot depth is ample for that. I believe it has to be less than 6 feet. And then you can drop into that 5 foot section. So here's our mechanical room. So here's some 3D photos so here's our mechanical room. You'll see our pump pit right here, pumps up. This is our filtration system for the pool. This is your domestic hot water heater, and this is your pool heater here. Eye wash station, chemical rooms. This is what your surge tank ends up looking like, the water coming back in from the pool and then getting pumped out by the pumps and through the filtration system. Any questions on the pool?
Just a quick reminder, Matt, on the size differential.
Yeah, so the current size of the pool is about 4,700 square feet. This new pool is going to be 4,999 square feet. That's down. Originally we were talking about 5,100 square feet. That's down. State code requires us 5,000 square feet is the tipping point where you switch different levels for staffing, for lifeguarding. If you're below 5,000 square feet of swimming surface, now you're lifeguarding. You only need like 1 lifeguard from 0 to 60, 2 lifeguards from 60 to 130, 3 lifeguards from 130 to 250, and then 4 from 250 and up. If you get over that 5,000 square feet, now you need 2 lifeguards from 0 to 63, from 60 to 130, so you end up adding more staff to the pool. So it's in the city's best interest that for that extra 100 square feet of swimming surface, it's still gonna be larger than what we've had. It's just not worth the extra staffing that we would have to do for an extra 100 square feet of swimming surface.
And one of the things I want to mention is, I mentioned at the committee that the part of this that is going to be the honor roll, or whatever you want to call it, for the folks who donated, not included in this. This will be something separate. We're going to have, now since we're getting to this point and getting into bids, that you're going to have staff meet with the swim club to see what exactly they have and we need to put together. And then obviously for what the city wants to put in there, obviously the school district was involved in this, that type of information, and then of course the major donors and things like that. But we'll move forward with that. That's a separate thing. But now since we approved this, then we'll get the opportunity to see where this will fit and how it will work and so on. So we'll be moving forward with that, separate item though.
You want to go over the lights quick?
Sure, so going over the lights, here's our lighting plan, okay, so, let me zoom in here just a little bit. So you'll see the fenced in area of the pool. What we want to do is we want to light this sidewalk. It's going to be security lighting and then also safety lighting for mostly for the fall during football season, since they use the pool parking lot and the park as overflow parking, to try and light these sidewalks a little bit better. So you're going to see a light pole will be in this far corner here. There'll be a light pole in this corner. There'll be one close to the street. It won't be overhanging the road, but it'll be lighting the edge of the road where people start to cross. And then one here coming up out of the parking lot. This might change in location, you know, like I might move this pole more down in this direction and then use the soffit lighting kind of up in here too. So, but we need 4 poles, light poles, to accomplish what we want to accomplish. We did have lighting in the budget, so it is in our budget. Luckily it was in interior pool lighting, so we just moved it out from the inside of the pool and moved it to street lighting, so it should be the same cost. But what we need to do tonight is give the engineers or US Aquatics kind of pick out the light fixtures that we want, or the pole that we want. So options are, there's essentially 3 options. It's the same kind of pole, but what you're looking at basically is the option for the head, right? So in this option you have essentially this style head right here. You have 2 brackets coming up, and then there's like a globe in the center here where your LED light bracket or your LED lights will be in here, and then they kind of shine out. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is this style of head right here, where it kind of comes off at a 22-degree angle, and then you have the round style head there just shining straight down. Option number 3 is this style where you come out basically in a V pattern and your head is in the center shining straight down again. Talked about this at Public Works before the meeting, and they were pretty much unanimous to go with this style right here. You don't have a globe in this style like you do. You can see all the styles down here in the bottom right corner. You don't have a globe or any glass or anything with this style. Personally, I personally just don't like this 20-degree angle pole, and then I think you have a little bit more stability with this V. The light will be coming, it'll go down and out. These poles will be between 13 and 15 feet in height. We're again not looking to light the deck of the pool. We're looking for basically sidewalk and security type lighting. The current poles up there right now The reason why we can't just reuse those is they're like 40-foot tall poles with outdated fixtures on the top of them. And just for, the reason they're that high is because they were actually used to illuminate the entire deck. These poles won't be used for that, they'll just be used for security. So there's no reason to have a 40-foot tall pole there anymore. And you can't just saw them halfway off and put a light fixture on them, because they don't make a light fixture for that, because they go from, these poles that are up there right now go from about a foot at the bottom to about 3 inches on top.
Is there any lighting underneath the, like the eave of the building?
Yes, the eave of the building will have soffit lighting in.
Soffit.
Yes.
Both on
All the way around.
the outside and on the, yeah, on the,
All the way around.
and on the both side, okay. Okay, any other questions on the building, or the design, or the, as far as we had the budget up there, the lighting situation, is everybody, because if we prove that that's the one that we'll put in the bid, does anybody have a disagreement over that style of those three that are up there? Okay, so we'll just include that when we move with the big motion to get this all done, that's the style we'll use, the recommended one, item, number 3 that you
Sounds good.
had. And I agree with you, I think it just, there's more, I like it better too. Okay, so, timeline.
Timeline for the pool, we basically give me the final design tonight look, so there's nothing to change. It'll take us a couple weeks to prepare all the bid documents. So we're looking to have this bid starting roughly the 15th of June, and bid opening will be about the 15th of July, give or take from those couple days. We'll get all the contracts out, get all the bids back to the city council on July 27th. On the 27th, you will then essentially award the contract and approve construction to start. If all of that goes to plan, we'll have a pre-construction meeting and kick off construction somewhere around the 8th of August.
Just remember, for the pool this year, we were going to be basically open for 2 months, opening this next week, and then, but closing by the end of July so that we can meet our schedule if everything goes.
Now keep in mind, those are obviously rough dates. You know, the start of the pool also depends on the winning bid, if they can't start till the 15th of August or so, or what their schedule is. But that's our ultimate goal, would be starting sometime around the 8th of August.
And we would basically, in the situation, when we open those bids in the middle of July, we would probably, if for some reason we have to make some changes, because of the way the bids come in, those decisions would be taken care of in those last few weeks with the final approval with the last meeting in July.
Correct.
So we're still, that's pretty tight though, if we have to do anything.
Very tight.
Very tight, but yet, if we have to do it, we'd deal with those issues at that time. Okay, any questions on the timeline? Okay, Chairman Schofield, if you want to report, this went through committee?
Yeah, Public Works Committee met with this prior to the meeting, and the vote there was to recommend the design as is, and with the lighting number 3 option that we've discussed. In light of that, I would like to make a motion that we approve the design and move forward.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Which one are you going to give it to?
Nick.
Nick. Okay, we have a motion and second to approve the final design of the swimming pool. By the way, and this was actually a citizen who asked me this question, so I'm going to throw it out. When bids go out, how do they get distributed so people can find them?
Electronically on, there's a bidding website. Russ, help me out on that.
Yeah, it's called Quest.
There you go.
So if somebody had interest in this, and they might not, as far as being on that, just have them contact City Hall?
Yeah, they can contact me, I can get them the bid documents, I can give them the phone number, they can call any one of our engineers, they can get them all the paperwork that they need. So if they don't know how to find them online, they're more than welcome to call me, and I'll get them in touch with our engineers, and they'll get them they'll email them all the proper paperwork and documents that they need.
Okay. Okay, any questions? We do have a motion on the floor. Any more questions, either concerning the design, the budget, the timeline, anything else? Aaron?
Sorry,
Oh.
Mayor, I forgot one thing.
Okay.
Now that I mentioned it, right here at the back end of the deep end here, you see that's a winterization manhole. That has to be 14 feet deep, and it's got to exit to daylight, as we call it. So coming out of the hill into the park, there will be a storm sewer pipe with some riprap around it. That has to exit to daylight because it's too deep for any of our other storm sewers to attach to. So we won't be draining the entire pool through that. We'll pump probably 75–80% of the pool out, but we have to basically drain our deep end through that. So coming out of that hill somewhere will be a storm pipe, and then it'll just surface shed through the park. So just to kind of keep that in mind for talking about placing things in parks as we're coming up here in the future. We will be having that added to the park. So.
Okay.
And that's only once a year,
Yeah, once maybe once maybe twice if we have an emergency. Some reason we got to dump the pool for an emergency or something.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, since it's obviously a very big project, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Schofield.
Yes.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Hayden.
Yes.
Councilmember Gillis.
Yes.
All in favor?
5 yes. Motion's agreed to. So we'll be moving on with the next step for the swimming pool.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pay the bills. So like that. So like that. The other thing we'll talk about are the other committees that need to meet. There's a general idea that the public safety will meet prior to the next council meeting on the 8th. Are we just going to plan for that?
Yes.
And at what time do you think we should meet?
She said 5:30 would work if that changes.
Okay, let's pencil in.
What was it?
Public safety will meet
Public safety, yeah.
at 5:30 prior to the next council meeting on the 8th of June.
Okay.
Is there anything you need to?
Yeah, there was that update to our bylaws.
Oh, yep.
Just real small verbiage.
Okay.
It won't be no issues, but
And
just want to get it updated.
the other committee that needs to meet will be, we already planned public welfare, but we do have a,
And I'm gonna double check on that, but there's an update for the facade grant project that Hefty Duck went through. They have an additional piece. I'm gonna double check. Typically, the Economic Development Committee would meet and recommend that. I'm just gonna double check though. I recall when they went through, they knew they were having other projects. I don't think that we've approved those yet though, so. I think it's gonna
once we
take-
do them, we'll find out, yeah. Okay.
Just a duplicate the way it looks.
I'll Yes, that one's already in there. Once you lay in that sheet.
Oh, God.
You know, the 2000.
You need one on the boys.
Well, clarify that stuff. Yeah. War chest.
Is that our street patching? I'm assuming.
Yes.
So when will the new Jaws of Life be operational, Chief?
Not sure, within a month. Just a little bit of training and they're all charging up right now. They're all battery powered, so there's no more gas engines running and fumes and hoses running anymore.
Really?
So the technology was out when we did the old stuff, but it was brand new, and that was, what, the old ones were what, 70 years old? And not everyone on the department at that time was sold on battery powered, but they've proven themselves over the last
Here we are.
years. So now you just grab the tool and go to work. It's, we are buying that with fundraiser money, so that's,
And hopefully we'll have to be used as less as possible.
yeah. It was $35,000 set of tools.
Keep your fingers short.
Lifetime.
Make a motion, we approve the vouchers.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the vouchers.
Except the battery.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's been there for 3 months now.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Schofield.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Hayden.
Yes.
Councilmember Gillis. Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
5 in favor.
Motion's agreed, the vouchers are approved. Just a reminder, next council meeting is on the 8th. Prior to that, at 5:30, we might change the time if we have to, there will be a public safety meeting. The second meeting in June will be the 22nd with a public welfare meeting with the subject of the dog park. And then we may be at, economic development may be meeting on the facade, and we'll set that as necessary. And of course, also in the month of June, we're looking at getting together a joint cities meeting on the 29th at probably 5 o'clock on that date, getting a location, getting things together. So that's what we have for the month of June. Any other questions? Any other items to come up? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. We are adjourned.